Welcome everyone. Now let's take a look at the task number 4. So in this task, you are asked to write the program for the shipping address. So you create the class name shipping address and declare the following variables, which contains the information, the shipping information of a person. So the variables includes full name, building number, street name, city, state, and zip code. And then you need to use those variables in the concatenation. You need to use concatenation to print the full shipping address in this format. For example, if those were the given values for the variables, such as Aaron Kissinger as the name, as the full name, and the 13621 as the building number, Legacy Circle as the street name, Fairfax as the city, Virginia state, and 22030 as the zip code. Then in the final output, your output should be your shipping address is displayed on the first line, and then starting from next line you will have 2 paragraph space, then the full name of the person, and then you will also have another new line, and in the new line you will have all 2 paragraph space. After the 2 paragraph space, then you will have the building number, street name, right? And then you will start the new line again. In that new line, you also have to include 2 paragraph space, then the city, state, and zip code. Okay, so let's go ahead and declare those variables first. Then we will use the concatenation to get this expected output. So here, I'm declaring couple string variables together back to back. So such as full name. At the moment, let me set the full name to Aaron Kissinger. And besides the full name, there are also some other information that can be strings, such as the street name, right? So instead of ending this variable declaration by using semicolon, I will give comma instead, and then declare the remaining variables, such as street name, and set the street name to, for example, Legacy Circle. And after the street name, next the city, we can declare and set the city to Fairfax. And after the city, next it's going to be the state. So state, I can still declare it as a string, and I will set it to Virginia. Just the state abbreviation is needed in the shipping address. And so after declaring those string variables, now I can declare the other variables. The other variables I haven't declared it yet are the building number and the zip code. So for the building number, I could use int, and for the zip code, I could also use int, assuming that they're just numbers, integer numbers. So here's my building number, this variable, and let me set it to 13621. And lastly, it is the zip code. Then let me set it to 22030. Okay, so the variables are declared. Assume that there could be any data in those variables. Any data could be stored into those variables. And now we need to do the concatenation to display those 4 lines on the console. Since I have 4 lines to display, it's easier if you have 4 print statements, right? So first print statement, second print statement, and I can also copy paste this print statement for 2 more times. Okay, and in the first print statement, it is asking you to display this message: your shipping address is. So in this first print statement, I can give that string of text: your shipping address is. And after it's displayed, starting from next second print statement, every single print statement, it should have 2 paragraph space at the beginning. 1, 2. So you have to repeat it for the remaining print statements as well, because you see in the expected output, every single line after this message, your shipping address, every single line afterwards, they need to have 2 paragraph spaces at the beginning. Okay, so I can include 2 paragraph spaces in every single one of those print statements. And second print statement is supposed to display the full name of the person, right? So after this 2 paragraph space, in order to give the full name of the person, I will do concatenation and concate the full name. Now let me display this in what I have on the console. Let's see what's our output looks like right now. See, we are getting close to get the expected output. So your shipping address is displayed, and then the full name of the person is displayed, right? And then next you need to, if you look at here, you see, seems like the space needs to be a little more extra, because the name of person, it has to reach over this line, right? This part. So seems like 2 paragraph space is not enough based on the expected output. So let me give 3 paragraph spaces. Okay, now it's much more like it, right? This is what it's supposed to look like output, first 2 lines. And after the first 2 lines, after the full name, in the next line, you need to display the building number and street name. Building number and street name. Of course, there has to be space between building number and street name. So in the 3rd line here, after this paragraph spaces, I will concatenate the building number. And let's print it. So building number is displayed. After the building number, you need to concatenate a space character, right? And then after the space, you can concatenate the street name. Okay, so this is exactly what we wanted in the expected output. And now we have the last line to work on. And in the last line of output, you need to give the city, comma, space, and then the state, then space, and then the zip code. Okay, let's concatenate them in the same exact order. So after the paragraph space is given, next we need to concatenate the city, okay? And then we need to concatenate the comma, space, and then state, right? But of course, if you forgot to concatenate the comma, space, and if you just directly concatenate the state, this is what your output would look like. You see, there is no space between city and state. So after the city, you're supposed to concatenate the space and then concatenate the city, right? Okay. City, space. Of course, after the city, you're also supposed to have a comma, and then the space, and then the state. So right before the space, you're supposed to include a comma in order to match the expected output format. All right. And after the state is displayed, next we need to concatenate the zip code. Of course, there has to be a space between state and the zip code as well. So I will do one more concatenation to concatenate the space and then concatenate the zip code. Okay. So this is my code now. And if I run this code, at the end, you see it displayed the shipping address of the person. And of course, since you are using variable names in those concatenation, if you store if different data was stored into those variables, then the different person's shipping address would be displayed on the console.